week off, and then I'm like, I'm gonna do podcasts and hang with you guys and fucking pretend to be a full-time comedian that makes money, when I'm certainly not.
A
Well,
lot of us,
that's the best way to get it going, getting that
yeah.
momentum,
Yep.
bringing it all
I was
in.
gonna say, fake it till you make it, bro.
Pretty much.
Oh, I'm there.
I'm
I've
there.
been doing
Same.
that.
Me too. Me too. So I guess this is a good place to start.
Mhm.
Hey, what's
Yeah.
up? Welcome to the Hypothetical Comedy Podcast. I am fucking
Hi.
Sam Medina,
And I'm Athena Rodriguez.
and we're here with comedian Niko Lukoff. What's up, Niko? How you doing?
Hello. How's it going, everybody?
Hell
How you
yeah.
guys doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing really well. I'm glad we get to connect and hang out and do this.
It's
I'm
been a
I'm stoked
while.
to
Yeah, you're back
yeah.
out in the world and you're having a good time out there. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's really good to talk to you and connect with you again. It's been a while.
Mhm.
Yeah, I feel like it's been a long ass time, but we've hung out so many times too, I feel like, and just so many great times just hanging out, talking with you guys, with other people. As even addition to doing the comedy part, like that just happens to be what we're doing, but just shooting the shit afterwards, as you guys know, is really the cool thing, to be able to connect and hang.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I never forget that one day when you said, "Hey, do you know a guy named Paul Kilmer? Do you mind if he comes hangs out with you with
Oh
us?"
yeah.
And I didn't know him, but you know what? Paul's one of my really good friends to this
Mhm.
day,
Oh hell
and
yeah.
it was
Yeah, I
because
love
you
that
wanted to
guy.
bring him to the hangout.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah, and I
glad.
was like, I never knew when someone was doing those, like, is this how closed door? Like, hey, he's cool. Let him in. Let him in.
Well, when I was doing the hangs or whatever, but when I was doing the Zoom mics, I was gatekeeping. Like people would message me. I remember this one time. This guy messaged me, and I'd never heard of him, and I messaged you because you know everybody. I'm like, hey, do you know this guy? You're like, no, I don't know him. I'm like, oh, I don't know. And then I told the guy, hey, send me a picture of yourself on stage. That was the key to get into the Zoom. And then
Yeah.
he did, and then he did, and then he goes, hey, my friend wants to come too. Do you want a picture of him on stage? And I go, no, now that I trust you, I also trust your friend.
Nice. Did he turn out to be cool?
Yeah, it was
That'd be funny if he didn't. He was
yeah,
like a total
no,
dipshit.
it was Jesse and Drew out of Houston.
Oh, cool.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I'm sure you know them now, but yeah, that was a good time.
Oh, Drew Blues?
No, Drew Hallway.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Excuse me, sorry.
Yeah.
All right, the cough podcast. All coughs
Yeah.
all the time. Let's just get rid of this. Okay, anyways.
Strictly
So
coffee.
Niko, let's get right into it. You
Sure.
recently you opened for Bill Burr. How did that go about?
A lot of luck. I did I got to do a short, guest spot deal. It was super fun. So basically, not basically, in back in May, at an open mic here in I'm in Idaho, so in Boise. We have a really awesome open mic at a place called the Mad Swede Beer Hall downtown. Great spot. A lot of people just like walk by and then end up going in. So you have like real audiences, is like a big deal at an open mic. So they did one a late Saturday night, and the host Haley Lenhart Weiss, who runs Blue City Comedy, that's a group who puts on shows there, was actually announcing Nate Ford. He's a really funny comic who was I don't think you know him. He wasn't in the Zoom stuff.
Yeah, I don't know
Really?
him, but isn't there a comedy club named after him or something? Or I'm thinking of a different Nate, somebody in Seattle.
Oh, I think it's something different. No, so
Oh, you're
well,
right. It is a different name. I'm sorry.
oh yeah, Nate Jackson. Yeah, super
Nate
funny
Jackson.
comedy club. Yeah, yeah, that place is awesome.
That's
I
not what
love
I
the
meant.
name of it.
Anyways, go on.
But oh good dude. Yeah, that's a great place too. Yeah, so he was getting, and he's, I've become friends with him. He's just a real nice, cool dude, really funny guy. He's doing comedy for 22 years. This is what he does all the
Wow.
time. And so he was going on stage, and Haley had said to everybody in the audience, like, hey, everybody, you should tweet at Bill Burr, who's going to be at the Ford Idaho Center. So that's where his name's kind of fun too, because Nate Ford at the Ford Idaho Center, which is a arena here in my town, Nampa. It's by Boise. That's known for big concerts. Like Dave Matthews Band goes there, and like Snoop was just there a couple weeks ago.
Wow.
And they do. They're really well known for a huge rodeo that they put on there too. So very Idaho kind of place. But when she was announcing, she's like, "Hey, everybody, go tweet at Bill Burr and say that Nate Ford should open up for you." And like the crowd was kind of quiet at that time. She's like, "No, motherfuckers, you guys do this shit. Tweet at him." And she was like getting intense, like, "Okay, cool, someone's gonna do this, right?" So we're hanging out, and she's awesome, and Nate did a great set. That a few days passed, and I just very rarely tweet. Like as I'm very verbose. Twitter's not my. I want to say a lot of words. It doesn't fit as well in that. and actually have a discussion in some way, even though you might not think Facebook's really for that. But so I don't tweet a lot, but I was like, I'm just gonna go see who tweeted, like who did that. And I checked it. Nobody. It's like 3 days later. I'm like, what the fuck, guys? So I tweeted, I tweeted, hey, my the really very funny comment. I tweet at Bill Burr, hey, very funny comic Nate Ford, that's his handle deal or whatever. Should open for you at when you're in Boise. He'd do a great job open for you. And then I didn't really think a whole lot of it. And then a couple hours later, and I don't even get like notifications on my phone for Twitter. I just was looking. I was like, oh shit, he replied. So he actually replied. He replied, and his first comment was great because it's so Bill Burr. He just said, "I heard he's a self-promoting cunt." Was his first reply. And we're like, that alone's a credit, like announcing Nate sometime being like, this next comedian was recently called a self-promoting cunt by Bill fucking Burr on Twitter. Like that would have been
a good little credit. I like that.
But then a little while later, he just wrote, "I will give you 5 up top." And I was like, oh shit, that's awesome. I was super excited for Nate. And also, to be honest, I saw some opportunity for me. Like, why so when you reply on Twitter where it like, it puts everybody's names there on the thing, an idiot might think, oh, maybe he's talking about me too. I don't know. So I play the idiot role very well, as you probably know. And so I DM'd Bill and I was just like, hey, thanks so much. This is a dream come true. I just want to clarify, you're talking about both of us, because also it was like, maybe he doesn't know I'm a comic. I don't know. Like, you're talking about both of us. I wasn't expecting that, but I obviously would love to. So I'm checking my phone every once in a while. 9 fucking days later.
Wow, 9 days. At this point,
he messages me back. I had, and I wish I had kind of documented this a little better because I don't remember what I was feeling at that time, but I remember like trying not to focus on it, but just being like, oh, yeah, I'll check every once in a while. But then he did. I'm like, holy shit. And then also, I think this was a mistake. I don't know. He ended up following me on Twitter. I was like, he follows like 400 people, and I have a very inactive Twitter. So I was like, that's pretty cool.
Wow.
He has 2 million followers. So I was excited about that. But I was also like, oh shit, I got to be careful about what I tweet now. Because what if I tweet something super dumb and he's like, fuck these guys? Like that was the fear. Because for me, I'm like, I'm a fairly new comic. Like we said before, I've been doing comedy on stage at open mics like 7 months before everything shut down. We went to Zoom. So I'm pretty new, but Nate's been doing this a long time. Like he has the ability, like if Bill Burr was like, hey, Nate, go on the road with me, like, which is obviously the fantasy of anything, and it'd be awesome. Yeah. He could actually do it because he's got the material, he's got the chops, and he's able to do that. So for him, it's like hopefully a thing to help advance his career, and for me too. Like I thought an opportunity for me too, but I wasn't really thinking much about that. I was like, this is just cool and fun. And then he was, and then he's like, hey, yeah, so both of you guys. So I posted on Instagram. So that moment I went for all these like pumped to like scared things this whole period of time. This was a 6-month process. So I post about it and I tag the venue, and the people who run the social media at the venue message me and are like, the fuck you talking about? I'm like, oh shit. They don't use those exact words, and I don't blame them. It was their job. They're just, what they really said was something like, hey, who told you were on that? Because like,
right, yeah,
exactly. They don't want someone spreading shit, and I understand that, like, exactly. And then I actually sent him a screenshot of our DMs, and I was like, Bill said that I was on, like, my close personal friend Billy. No. So I showed him that, but he's like, yeah, that's cool. But he didn't know like what he was supposed to do, like ask me to remove it or whatever. And the last thing I wanted again was to jeopardize this opportunity. Yeah, I didn't want them bugging Bill and be like, these shitheads are posting. Like so I just deleted the post until later. I posted again later about it. Wow. It was more cemented, but still, like, that was like, okay, that's really cool. And then I have the timeline here. So he tells us that, and then August 28th, so like 2.5 months later, I message him because we hadn't heard anything. I'm like, I can't just show them my fucking phone and be like, let me in. I got a tweet.
Bill said.
Yeah, right. And I also don't want to wait in line all the fucking chumps, like.
Yeah. And then what if like you hype it up and you tell all your friends, and then they end up saying, no, fuck you, you're out of here.
That was the fear till the moment of, because like that's always a possibility, right? So I was I also was like, so I'm so new at comedy, I'm like, I just tweeted and he let us do this. Is this I knew it wasn't super normal, but I'm like, maybe it is normal for headliners to like just because I know headliners will have locals do their stuff and be on their shows, and maybe it was like, oh, these dumbasses will do it for free. I was gonna pay somebody. I don't know. I don't think that's the case, but that did go through my mind at one point. I'm like, fuck, did I screw someone out of an opportunity? I don't know. But this is me just being cynical and dumb and overthinking stuff.
Even if that's the case, I mean, you went for the brass ring and you're able to grab it.
Yeah.
Fuck them,
Yeah. Yeah, fuck them. That's my message. But I was stoked. It was kind of funny. Someone messaged me. He's like, dude, if you were an asshole, I'd be so mad right now. I was like, I would be too if it was like this jerk, this piece of shit. No, so I messaged him. I'm like, hey, just checking in. Do you need any? Like, I gave him our full name. It was like, this is our stuff. Like, just want to make sure. Like, do we need to check in with anybody or whatever? And then it was what was it? Yeah, it was Sarah. It was like a week later or so. He just messaged me and he's like, hey, I'll send you my tour manager's email. They'll have your name at the thing. I was like, oh shit. Okay, this is real. This is real. This is real. Then nothing for months. I didn't get an email, or like he never gave me the email, but I'm like, fuck, I don't want to be like, hey,
do I keep bugging him? Do I let it
right?
go? Right.
But I did. I was actually going back and forth with Nate. I'm like, hey, this is what I'm thinking of saying. What do you think? Because like I don't, we're in this together. I don't want to fuck it up. And then I did end up messaging him saying, hey, here's my email in case it's helpful. If you need anything from us, just let us know. Nothing. And then 9 days before the show,
oh my God,
I get an email, right? I get an email from his tour manager. Hey, I heard you're you're doing a 5-minute guest spot for Bill Burr. Because I was also not sure once I got at it, I didn't know if we were both doing 5. Like I wasn't going to push, like, I'll find that shit out. I wasn't going to push them, but I wanted to know what we're doing. And then he's like, here's the information, how many, give me your address and all this info to like have you in this whatever thing. I'm like, okay, here's my info. But then he didn't mention Nate. I was like, oh shit. I'm like messaging Nate and it's like 10 a.m. Like, fuck, he's not awake. He's a comedian. Then he does send me all his info because I was like, hey, I was gonna wait and send his info all together, but like I didn't want to like slow down and get an info. So I'm like, here's my information. I'm also gonna send you another comedian, Nate Ward's info, because he's also one. Like I want to make sure that nothing got lost there. And then I sent him the info. It turned out he did also email Nate. He just found his email online, but he didn't tell. Like I didn't know that. So, but also showed that he knew that I had Nate's back. I wasn't like being like, okay, I guess I'm on it, and like fuck you, So he did reply, and we figured all that stuff out. And I took the day off my day job, and I'd already scheduled that off, and spent the day just pacing in my living room, reciting lines. My mic stand I got that I use for Zooms.
Yeah.
Because I got the regular like Shure 758 mic. And then just try not to go insane. And we did a podcast on the way there because there's Chris and Wendy, they do locals here in Boise. Do it's called Toasted. I always fuck it up. Toasted Marshmallow Ventures podcast. They do, but David, they do a fun podcast where they'll like take you to a show. They call it Uber comedy or Uber something.
That's pretty incredible.
Which is cool. Like they'll pick up headliners from the airport and take them to the show because that's a save $10-$30 on Uber or whatever.
Yeah.
And get an opportunity just to talk, and it's in a fun environment. So, but they usually hadn't done them in the dark before, so we got like little lights in the back we're holding, and Nate's up front, I'm in the back. There's usually not two comics on it, so it was just kind of a weird, different kind of one too. And they were already going to go to the show, so we're like driving around and like, okay, what gate did they say to go to? And I'm like horrible at directions. We're like, go to this one and go up next to this thing. And we go in, and they told us like, oh, someone will be there. Let's go to this door, go in. Someone will be there to like walk you backstage. We're like, okay, cool. So of course we get there, and they're like, I don't know who the fuck you are. What are you?
Of course.
So we're like, what are you talking about? You're insane. And then they got somebody else because we got there like an hour and a half early. We didn't know when we're supposed to be there. So that 9 days before, also he goes, all right, we got you down for one parking space, or whatever, because we weren't sure exactly how we're gonna ride, but we knew that'd be the max.
Yeah.
And then and then he goes, I'll email you 1 to 2 days before the show with more details. So I figured that's gonna be like, where do we go? What time to be there?
Yeah, who to check in with and whatever.
So a couple hours before the show, we get that email.
Oh wow.
That says be here. So we're like, want to be ready and prepared, but we also just, we don't want to get there super early or whatever. I mean, I don't mind getting there early, but we just didn't really know what to do or expect. So we get there and we finally find someone who knows what's going on. They're walking us back. We're trying to act all cool. They're like, oh, there's caterings over there. They got some food over there. It's actually pretty good this time. I'm like, okay, this time. This is the first and probably the only time. I'll do it again. But like, it was like, we're like trying to just act all normal. And then we go to this room. Yeah. We walk in this hall and we walk past a little sign that says Bill Burr dressing room. And it's like, oh shit. We go to the one that's ours, which is just, big room. And we're just pacing back and forth and practicing. Brilliant. No, it was good. We got some food. I was worried that I'd be too nervous to eat, but I was not. And then we waited, and then it was like 10 minutes before the show was supposed to, they showed us the stage, and like Nate was going to introduce me. Nate was going to do his set, introduce me, then I introduced the feature, who was then going to introduce Bill.
Oh, New York style.
Yeah. that makes sense. Yeah. So about 10 minutes or 15 minutes before the show is supposed to start, we're just like, do we wait in our room? Do we need to go? Because what if they're like, where the fuck are these guys? And then they just started, or like, are they going to be mad? We didn't know when we're supposed to be wherever. We're like, yeah. So we end up like 10 minutes before it's supposed to start. We walk through this like underground tunnel kind of thing to the, or this under the stage kind of thing the bleachers thing to the front. And while we're walking there, the guy who we had checked in with before passed us. He's like, hey, they're not even here yet. Like, just, we can go back to your thing. It was like, we're like the dudes going to our first party and they're like, hey, the parents haven't left yet. Just fucking go wait.
We'll sit in the car for another half an hour.
Yeah, dumbass. Be cool, man. And we're like, so we were pretty chill about that. We're like, oh yeah, okay, this is the normal thing. And then, so they were going to come get us, which we're glad, because we're like, we didn't know what to do. And then eventually the guy who I've been emailing with just comes in our room, this tall dude from New York, just, black leather jacket. He's an ex-cop who's Bill's like dude. They were friends, and he's a tour manager, security, all that kind of stuff. And he's just totally chilled the way he's talking. And he's just like, hey guys, we were starting the show about 8:30. Is that okay? We're like, yeah, that's fine. Fucking whenever you want. And then he's like, all right. He goes, you guys want to meet Bill? And we're like, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Trying to be cool still.
So then we go to that first room that we had passed before, and he is exactly who you'd expect him to be. He's just his energy and the way he talks and the way he acts, and he's just super nice, and I mean he acts, and he is angry. A lot of stuff he talks about, he's angry, but like he's not just screaming at people, like he's not an asshole. He's super cool, and he just sees us come in and he goes, and I'm horrible at impressions, like, hey, those are locals. And we're like, yeah. Like my Bill Burr's like a shitty Pacino, I realized. And then he's like, you guys bugging me on Twitter? And it was almost verbatim what I had in my brain that he was going to say too. So it was just perfect. And I'm like, hey, I want him to know like that was me. Like we had DM like that. Yep. Hi, Bill. I'm Niko. Nice to meet you. And then we're talking, shaking people's hands. And then and we sit down and just, he's like, hey, do you guys want to sit down? And we just sit down and start talking. And he's like, hey, tell me about the local comedy scene. And Nate's, been around for a while. So he's like talking about clubs that open and close and all that kind of shit. And then he was ordering from the Yard House. And he's like, don't you guys have any fucking buffalo steaks? I want a fucking buffalo steak. Not like a diva, but he was just talking. I'm like, Black, I don't know. You don't know.
Maybe he's into buffalo.
And then he's like, oh, just give me a burger and a salad or whatever. And then we're just talking, and then he says, this was amusing to me. He's like, just out of blue, he's like, so I made this might be not exactly word for it, but very close. I made this fucking movie with Miramax, and I was writing it, I was in it, and then all the directors were sick because of COVID, and then they were backed up because no one could do it. And then they're like, Bill, why don't you do it? And I gotta go fucking everything. And I later realized that was Bill Burr's way of saying, hey guys, so I made this movie. Can we talk about it? He's just so cool. He knew exactly what, like he's it. He knows what we wanted to do. He knows the concerns that we'd have, and he didn't make it extra awkward. And he knew, like, he just knew it. It was just on, and it was just super cool. And I did end up telling him, like, I've been doing this for like, 3.5 years. Nate's like, I've been doing this for 22, and Bill's like 30 years. And one of the things I wish I could have said was like, oh, well, 3 years in, what celebrity did you open for?
He's like, get the fuck out of my office.
I think he probably would have laughed at that.
Yeah, probably.
No, he was super cool. And then eventually that tall dude who had come in. Oh, and I mentioned Dean Del Rey, who I hadn't seen before, but has a podcast with Mark Maron. He's super funny. I'm really glad to be able to meet him and see him. So he was his feature. And so then the dude Kenny, who is the security guy and everything, just came up to me, and he was like, oh, so you guys want to start the show? I'm like, yeah, I guess we'll do that. So we go, and then so there's this, so we're on the left hand side of the stage, and they just have a curtain blocking us from the normal people. They don't want us near the audience. Oh, they had a curtain right there, have this little area with a couple of couches and a TV that was showing the stage, and then the stage right there. So like the couches were like 10 15 feet from the stage, and the steps that walk up, and then Niko is up and does awesome. I go up. I don't know how I'm doing a little bit. It felt super weird. Like it was so, I did some material that I don't know if this was sabotage or not. There's other stuff that I could have done that I feel like would have done better. But I had some personal stuff that I wanted to do that was a little roasty to religion and Christianity, which I knew was a little weird in Idaho and at a rodeo place. But I'm like, I would be kicking myself if I didn't do it. It's about my kids, and it's some stuff that it's supposed to be, the core of it is just about being a parent, just weird stuff to deal with. But that sounds
like that would be good for a Bill Burr audience.
Yeah, but it does touch on religion a little bit, and some of them went silent for some of that. But then, like, my final line, when it hit, like, I could feel the roaring up top and everything. And then friends later were telling me, and even not friends, people I had no reason to lie, I told other people too, like, I did fine. I definitely didn't like murder, but did good. And just some of the people up front just had a weird energy, and that's kind of how they were for some of the show anyway. And, before Bill got him in.
Oh, wow.
But it was weird because you walk off stage, and like I almost feel like I'm taking something away from when I'm telling a comic, like that it wasn't just bam, 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 it laughs the entire time and roaring, and the energy was feeding me like electricity. I've walked off stages and felt better before. So it was weird. I got off stage, I gave Nate a big hug. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I'm glad we're here and we're doing this. You did great, dude. And he's just soaking in and feeling amazing. And I had my phone in my pocket just recording the audio, because I didn't know like what the expectation was. Because they took phones away from people that were there, put them in the yonder pouches, they lock them up, which is normal for big show. I don't mind. I'd seen John Mulaney a couple weeks before. I'm like, great, I'm gonna live in the moment here, and I'm not gonna be able to take your shit out of context. Someone's not gonna be some asshole. But they didn't do that with our stuff, so we were just taking pictures. And it was funny, like we're sitting back there like Nate, me, Bill Burr, just fucking around on our phones while someone's on stage. We're just like this is just a show. It was bananas. It was cool.
Wow.
So
that's incredible.
Dean's up there just killing. And then at one point Bill goes to me and Nate, and I'm so glad he did. So he's like, hey guys, let's take the picture now. And we just like, because he just knew that's what we wanted to do, but it was awkward. And he also didn't want later to probably have, to do it. He wanted to get in the zone for his stuff, and he gets there, and it's me, Nate, who's similar stature as me, and then Bill, who's taller than both of us, and then Bill just goes, I should be in the middle. Like, yeah, probably. And then
he has a lot of experience taking pictures with people.
Yeah, he knows what's up. And then we got a great picture together, and then they played the trailer for the movie that he was talking about before. Then it's clicking. I'm like, because like that was a big thing that that he's promoting. So they're playing a trailer on the screen that I'm watching down below, and then on the stage so everyone could see it. And then they're promoting the movie. I'm like, oh, that's the thing. And then I'm like, oh, he just wanted to talk about the movie he was making, and we were just, I don't know how to react. And I was like, oh, sounds cool. Like we're trying to play cool. And it looks really funny. And he did his set, and he killed and did awesome. And there were some parts that some of the audience were stereotypical people that you would think live in Idaho when he's talking about stuff about race. I don't want to get too far into set, like not that I would give anything away, but his next special is going to be awesome. Yeah. And it was blown away just walking him. Like I was sitting in the seat that he was in, so I literally had the best seat in the house. Walk in and walk back and forth this way where the audience is that way. And I'm like, does he see me staring at it? Like, is this weird? I don't, he's a pro. So even if I was, but also, the light, so you can't see everything the same way.
Mhm.
And while I was on stage, I could only see, the edges of audience. It was similar to Zoom in a lot of ways, because it was just like a vast open space, and you kind of just feel the air. You feel that you're there, but also almost like in a dream when you're like flying or something, like you kind of just feel a little different. But also the timing of everything. Next time I get that opportunity, that will be better, because I had in my brain just talk normal speed. Stuff's going to bounce back and forth how it should. Take the time to slow down and speak, because I'd speak too fast anyway, but don't go extra pausey like a shitty Zoom, which is what I ended up doing. And Nate, I mean, not shit on Nate, but like both of us, we talked and then we waited a little more. You can kind of tell. And then, but yeah, it was like, some of it was like, okay, waiting for the feedback or whatever. But later I listened to my recording, like, oh, all right, those are the things that hit. And then especially the final line before they didn't know I was getting off stage yet, but like my final line, I think is very funny. Just went around and just gave that energy.
Oh, wow.
And it was super fun. And then at one point, Kenny, the tour guy, was like, hey, when Bill's on stage, he's like, hey, when Bill's done, if he does want you to go on stage, he'll say so. So I'm like getting my phone ready, because I've seen him do like little clips, and comics will do that, and big shows and take pictures of the whole audience, all that kind of shit. But then like he was done. When he's off stage, he's like, I'm fucking out of here. Went to his room, and that was the last I saw him. But then that night, went out and hung out with a bunch of local comics, which was really fun, because I felt like it was a team effort. We just happened to be the ones in the game that night or whatever.
I got the call. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And it turns, a lot of the comics that were local were in the audience also, and that was really fun.
Nice.
I hadn't realized that. I knew there would be some, but it didn't all connect to my brain until we were hanging out at a bar afterwards, just having a great time. And then I'm like pacing back and forth and separate a little bit. One of the guys was like, hey, are you okay? You look like you got like bad news or something was weird. Like I listened to a voicemail, someone, died or something. But he's like, I'm like, no, I'm listening to the audio. He's like, what? And then I start letting him that I'm hearing the parts that I'm like, oh shit, no, that one, okay, that was pretty good actually. Holy shit. Because a lot of times it's just different when you're, as when you get off stage, you're oftentimes wrong about how things went. But then I go back, he's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like I had ruined, like I was like, dude, just enjoy this shit. Don't go fucking being a dumbass, like ruining your fun by like nitpicking your shit. Just fucking have it. You did this thing, have a good time.
And nitpick it tomorrow.
Yeah. And then and then 2 a.m. I DM'd Bill. I was at home. I was like, just thanks and all this stuff. And then a couple weeks later, and this Monday, he sent me a message and was just like, thanks for doing the show, Niko. I'm like, oh, just you can say it to anybody, whatever, but like it just felt good. And then I replied about the local comedy scene and how he did help inspire a lot of stuff, because people now, when they come to shows, they've been like, oh, I saw you at, Bill Burr's show or whatever. And then after the show, we were talking to people and inviting them to shows and stuff. So it's, kind of helping spark and get some excitement for our local shows. And he was, saying that's cool and happy about that. And, talked about venues and stuff. And so sent you a couple DMs, and I was like, can't wait to see you next time, whether I'm on your show or not.
Yeah.
So of course I really hope that he hits me up, whether he does or not. I don't fucking know.
Even if you're not though, like you probably still get like special perks, special treatment because you know the guy.
Maybe I don't know.
Maybe
I don't know. I was ready to buy tickets to go see Nate when I didn't know. I was like, well, I guess I'm glad that Nate's going on. Well, there goes $100.
Yeah, right.
Because that's like the cheap seats.
I like that. I like that what you mentioned before, that all of you see it as a team group effort, and whoever goes up, you're still happy for them. It's still a win for your comedy community, and that's so important.
And on top of that, you went to bat for your friend and you ended up getting a reward for it.
Yeah, that was cool. I was happy that worked out that way. And like it was fun. We go into the bar, and I didn't realize how many, this felt really awesome, I didn't realize how many of the comics were gonna be there. So I don't know if your guys' area is any different. All the comedy except for one show happens, mostly all the comedy except for one show happens in Boise. It's half an hour away, so I'm driving an hour round trip. Might not sound like a lot in California, but doing every show in open mic when I'm going to everyone else's town, and there's only a couple people in my town that live there. But this was actually in my town. So people so I knew that an Uber was going to be more expensive back to town. So people actually went to it. And I just felt it was nice. Like people were like investing their time and energy and money, because it was, $30-$40 Uber back home,
Yeah.
back to their town. And we just walk in and like people are cheering like we're like a local team that won some fucking thing, right? That's how it felt. And this isn't a bragging thing either. It just felt so nice and lovey and warm and just hugging everybody and getting right when it was fresh, getting to tell everybody all those fun stories I just told you guys about it, just like all these fun little things and having drinks and taking pictures and hanging out and I, got done up a little bit. I went and got a different outfit just rather than my normal t-shirt and jeans I do at most mics and stuff. And so it was just fun. We went out and
absolutely. How big was the venue approximately? Like, how many people were there?
Well, I'd have to guess, but there's exactly enough seats for 12,200 people if it's full. The way they have it set up, though, I want to say probably about 8,000 capacity, and people told me there's about 9,000 people there.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That's incredible. Congratulations.
That's a lot of people. Thanks. Yeah. There's a lot of people to get to see your face and hear you tell jokes.
There's a lot of people to hear potato. I would imagine you don't do that there though, because
that was the set I was gonna do. When I do that in Idaho, I flip it around and then I roast Portland a little bit. When I do it like in Portland, which is where I do a lot of my shows, I roast Idaho. I just flip a couple lines around, and I don't really care. I love both areas, but both people want to kind of shit on each other a little bit, and I'll feed it into that.
Yeah,
that was a set that I was thinking of doing that I think would have done a lot better, or at least done better, and just not as divisive. But I was like, if I did that and didn't do well, I'd be like, damn it, I didn't even do the material I wanted to do, and it didn't go well.
You would have wondered.
If I did it and do well, I'd be like, that feels great, but fuck, what if I had done this other one? I could have shared this thing, which I think is my best stuff. So I got to do that. And so after the show, we went to go wait for an Uber, like outside this gas station. And a lot of people were there and walking by. So a lot of people had been at the show, were like saying hi to us and stuff, like at hotels we were walking by. So it's just a fun thing.
Good set. I saw you on stage. Yep.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. And then we're standing outside, we're drinking beers and waiting for our Ubers, having a great time. This guy's coming up to Nate and he's like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. You were on this. You guys just locals. We're explaining like, where we do shows. Like, that's so cool. You did awesome. This is so great. And then he goes, I'm sorry, I'm taking up your time. Like, I will cancel all my plans. I will ghost my friend. I will cancel this Uber right now. This is why we don't, there's way easier ways to not make money than do comedy. Like, this is why we do this. You were feeding that thing in our soul. I didn't go say exactly that, but it was, I was like, nah, dude, we're good. But then some lady shouted at me, and I'm working on a bit about this, and I didn't hear what she shouted, and she took off. In the story, in the bit, I say it a little differently to make me seem funnier than I am. And then she shouted out something. I was like, what? So apparently she shouted like, I'm a Christian, and then slammed the door.
Because you touched on religion.
Yeah. The whole bit. Okay, so the bit's about my 13-year-old son had a little bit of time where so we're pagan household. And I know you guys also see me do jokes about that. My wife being a witch, all that stuff. And the core of this is my son, he's 13, is like, hey, I'm gonna be Christian. I'm Christian now. That's how and we're like, oh shit. And then when he told me that, I thought like, well, okay, this is something to figure out. I don't want to like push him away and like, you squeeze on to, everyone's got to learn, do their stuff. But also I'm like, fuck, this is going to be really funny. This is really this is going to be a fun set to write about. So I wrote the set about it and I've been working on it since right after those tweets actually, because that set started in June. And I just developed it and it's my favorite thing to do. And now I have more material about it because now I have material about people yelling at me about it. And then and I get to rewrite reality and be like, what would have been funny if I had said, and get to pretend like I said that and say it on stage. Cause fuck it. We're just, who cares? We're just saying stuff.
That's so interesting. Cause I feel like a lot of people don't realize that, Christianity mirrors a lot of like pagan stuff.
Yeah.
Very covert. So
it's the same shit. It's just the next chapter, same shit. Mm-hmm. But we, and I don't even care enough to like argue or debate it with people. But but it's really, that's what it is. Just about 100% of the things for Christmas are taken very specifically from pagans to assimilate and whatever, and like whatever that happened, that sucks. I wouldn't say that sucks. Like it's what happened. It's factual. But we still celebrate Yule and Christmas because it's fun. Who gives it? Like
same.
It's all about love and good time.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome, man. Congratulations on that.
Plus, it's so good that I know that you know your tried and true material, but you tried to be a little bit more brave and do something that you didn't know if it was going to work.
Yeah,
and that's super brave, especially with such a big venue.
It does
with a big star that you're in front of. That's brave. That's some shit right there.
It is. It does take a lot of guts for you to deviate off of your tried and true.
Nice. I appreciate that. It felt pretty well. I told you how it felt. If I say it felt pretty, it feels good now being like, hey, I did that. And I've been at other shows, several open mics, and then other, book shows where people come up to me afterwards and be like, hey, I saw you at the Burr show. And it's just exciting. Like as an audience member, I'd be excited too. I'm like, oh, our local was there. So like, I'm going to be more excited about comedy and whatever's going on if I know that kind of shit happens.
And especially if you're like you said, local comedy fan, because if Bill Burr's invested in this guy, then I probably should be too.
Yeah, that's cool too. Yeah, that's fun. It's weird because it has helped me in certain things like that. I think a couple of podcasts that just happened to message me a little sooner because of, you and I were, we were already talking about doing stuff. It just was good timing. And I think it's kind of fun, but like, I reach out to different scenes when I'm going to travel there. And some bookers just happen to reply all of a sudden.
Nice. Interesting.
I had already, locked some stuff in with a lot of people, so I'm not shitting on anybody by any means. If I was a booker, similar thing. It would remind me if I saw this on somebody's feed, a picture. And I'm glad Nate was there to take pictures, and I took some pictures for him. So you got a great shot of like a bunch of audience from the side of the stage. And that'll remind somebody of something. I still send my tape to any booker I'm reaching out to, but
yeah, you'd probably even get more bookings if you change your name to Niko Burr Lukoff.
Probably would. He'd be like this at some point. He'd be like, this fucking guy.
Like, is this Bill Burr's son? What's happening here? Oh man. Hey, so let's change the gear a little bit. Let's go back in time.
Yeah.
It's crazy because we met you on Zoom during the pandemic, but you are from the same place we're from. You're from San Jose. What was it like for you growing up, and how old were you? Because I know you left, I think, as a teenager, right?
Yeah, so I was a week after my 16th birthday is when I got shipped off to. I talk about it a bit, but I don't talk about the details of where I went because I haven't figured out the material yet. But I got like the whole bit about getting busted in high school selling weed because you're not supposed to do that there, and all this stuff, like a core set that I had worked on a lot on your guys' thing.
Yeah. Right.
This is what happened. So I got kicked out of high school. So I haven't lived in homes, lived there since then. I got sent to live in the woods. I lived in Samoa. I ended up in Oregon. And then that's where I ended up meeting my wife shortly after getting out of those programs.
Wow. That's pretty crazy. What do you mean by the woods? Was the wood before Samoa?
Yeah. So
like, here's a tent.
But that would have been nice. Actually, they gave us a tent. It was more like, here's a tarp.
Oh, and wow. You can wrap it literally that around. Was in the woods.
Yeah. So it was called, the names they give these places are fucking insane. This was called Aspen Achievement Academy. What's that sound like? Boarding school, some kind of, right?
Yeah.
Some shit.
I mean, if it says academy, it's a rehab and it says academy.
Yeah.
That's silly.
So I was there for 8 weeks. And that was a normal length of stay for people there. And they, took you to like a building that wasn't huge to like get supplies or whatever. And they just, you lose literally every physical thing you have, new clothes, new everything. Here's a paper bag of food, but not telling me how long it's has to last me.
Oh, wow.
And then we get in a truck and I get dropped off with a group in Capitol Reef National Forest near Loa, Utah. And they're like, this is this is where you go. And all I really knew is that it's supposed to be about 8 weeks. And what I was told was that in 8 weeks, I would come home and then be on probation again because I failed my probation. Apparently 8 drug tests in 1 month is too many to fail.
Oh, dang.
And
yeah, I can see that.
And the line I talk about is like how they weren't grading me on a curve because I had passed like way more before it, because I would, not that I was supposed to, because I did stuff with my test to pass. But then, yeah, there was either, because I thought it was either going to go get locked up, because I'd been at juvie for a few weeks when I got busted, and then was out on probation. So they said either, go to the boys ranch, kind of like a, upgrade of juvie for 90 days, or go to this program for 8 weeks, which I knew was going to cost my parents money. And either way, at the end of either one, I would get on 6 months probation again, is what I was told. And then I just was gone until I was almost 19.
Wow.
Pretty much. Yeah. I think I was 19, actually. I turned 19 in the program. I mean, it was a little over 3 years for the whole process, but ended up, we made packs every day with our, like, we'd make our tents or whatever, or I forget what it was called, something else that we called it. But basically we have a tarp and we'd have rope that we would just tie up and, build our little shelter. That's what it was. That's what they called it. And then we did have sleeping bags and like one little pad and a bottom tarp for the floor. And
wow, that's insane. Is it dangerous? Was there animals? Like, was it dangerous?
Oh my gosh.
No, I mean, I didn't see.
I guess it's Utah.
I saw some animals,
animals
but it wasn't dangerous. Yeah. I don't think it was dangerous. I don't know. I mean, not that I'm aware of. And then eventually they bring you more into the group where it's like at first they don't tell you how long you can't talk to anybody for.
Oh man.
And you can't be with the group that's like starting a fire, and you can get in trouble, like a fire to eat, not to just burn down the woods.
Right.
But eventually you progress to get into like, now you're doing this, and then you have to like make a flame for 5 nights in a row that somebody could see with the bow drill that you made, to eat hot. Once you're like, I'm committing to learning how to make the fire every night, I have to bust a flame, make a flame that they could see and verify, and then you could eat hot on the actual fire with the rest of the group.
And then you get your fire merit badge.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
And then eventually I thought I was going home, and then got a letter that I wasn't.
And so did you go from there straight from Utah to Samoa?
Yeah, well, was there a couple of days? I think there was a little bit of there was a few days in between. I'm sure some of the stuff I also kind of just blocked out.
Yeah.
There was a few days in between. It was funny because all our food in the woods was from Western Family, and I thought that was just the brand that just made food for kids in the woods. Like, I didn't know. And then we went to, and then I was staying with my parents in a cabin for a couple of days before I went to Samoa. I'm like, oh shit, this is at the store. This is like at the store too. Like, I'm like, oh, this place must be where they buy all this stuff. I'm like, no, it's just the brand that people have at a store that's popular in that area specifically. And then I went to Samoa, and then I thought I was going home after that. It's a sad story. I talked to my wife a little bit about it, and I didn't even realize till recently, like, this is a sad story. You're like bumming people. Not just being mean, like bumming people. I just meant like in my brain, it's a kind of weird story, but it's like interesting, and it's not like a sob story necessarily. But then I realized, it probably is kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
It's really it's really interesting. I've known you going almost 3 years now, and I've been wanting to ask you like life in Samoa. I wanted to ask you that for a long time. So if it doesn't make you too sad, tell us about life.
No, it was neat. It's a beautiful fucking place, man. It's gorgeous. It's a third world country, but it's a tropical paradise. And it's interesting because you meet people like in the village and stuff, and they know there's a couple of programs on the island. Like, if you're white, you were there because you're part of a German family that owns a lot of the island.
Okay.
Which I wasn't. You were you were there for the Peace Corps, was not there for that. Or you were there and people had different views on the morality or just who you were, of like, you were a kid that probably got in trouble and whose parents have money. So they, that isn't necessarily a positive view for somebody to have, but it was, there was definitely much, not that it's important, but there were like much wealthier families of kids that were there. So that was part of the whole thing. A little bit of guilt I felt too, that like it was costing my parents so much money. They fucking decided to do it, but still. And it was wild. We had we slept on these grass mats that were like really thin, like those woven mats you might see like at huts or whatever.
Oh man.
So, but we did have rooms with a closed door, but it was like a very small, here's the bathroom. Like you might have a dresser, but it's mostly like you just have your suitcase that you came there with, and it's being a bunch of slobby dudes that was like, okay, fine, we'll just open our suitcase and fucking live out of that. That's who cares, whatever. And then you had a pillow and a blanket, but as you progressed in time there, you kind of like leveled up internally, not as at the program. There were levels in that too, but just kind of in the I don't say status of but people have been there for a lot longer, like, oh, they got a couple of pillows and some blankets because so-and-so graduated and gave it to them and nobody took them away yet. That kind of shit, which I imagine stuff like similar probably in jail where like people just, you end up getting stuff like that. And
like Niko gave me his apple.
Yeah. Shit like that. I sold battery. I'm always thinking of whatever business thing to do. My parents would send batteries, and there was, I sold those and other things.
No, mom, send me cigarettes.
Yeah. And there were kids that smoked. I didn't smoke. I smoked weed there once, and that's one of my lines is the worst weed I ever smoked was in rehab, and it's about there because this kid did share weed with me, and I smoked like a bowl, and I was like, this didn't do anything. And then the joke is that we had mac and cheese for dinner, and somehow it tasted bad. I'm like, that's got to be the worst weed if like mac and cheese didn't taste good. I felt a little bit from it. Like I knew it wasn't just fake weed. It was just not good weed. But yeah, it was.
That's why they send you for rehab, so you can't relapse.
Yeah.
Even if you tried.
And like what I said before on Zoom, I'll be like, I'm not trying to talk shit about Samoan weed. I'm sure they have great weed. Just what I didn't want to insult their weed. They probably have pretty good stuff. That's just not what I had. And
you know how to find it and where to find it.
Yeah, somebody had it and
not in rehab.
Yeah. I didn't seek it out as like a lot of people did, and they snuck it in and did all this shit, and it was just weird. There was one time I guess there's no such thing called kind of a riot. There was where some of the guys just were like, we're going to break some windows and try to like somehow break out of this place. I'm like, you're not going anywhere. And then there was a day of yeah, right. It's like, where are you gonna go? And then like they're gonna find you, and then but I was with like folks who like sold coke for the fucking like New York families. I was there with kids who did all kinds of crazy shit, and they were
wild. Just like
and they like
weed. I know, just selling weed. And I know, like the worst shit ever.
It's such a lame thing too, because it's like, I'm here for weed, like the fuck. Like it's not cool.
Like going to jail. It's like going to jail for weed, Everybody's like,
exactly. And yeah, especially nowadays, like what? You can that's just legal now. Right. Fucking lunatic.
Were you a delinquent, or were you just selling weed?
So I wasn't even like a big dealer or anything. I just would buy an eighth and break it up, and I'd end up smoking too much to make a profit.
So you're just like little portions.
Yes, very small amounts. Very small amounts.
Niko, like I got for selling nickel sacks.
I wasn't. It was not cool at all. Like it does not. It sounds way cooler. Not that it sounds cool. I just mean like it wasn't big time at all. And then but yeah, small amounts. But yeah, I smoked weed all the time since I'd first gotten high when it was like the year prior, when I was 15, and I was just like, this is just how I want to feel all the time. So I self-medicated and was selling all the time. And so then like, I didn't do any other, harder drugs than that. And there are kids who definitely did, and nothing against them. It's just different. Right. So I made some, I think we're pretty good friends at the time that, not really that I stay in touch with anymore though, but, yeah, it was weird.
But I don't think that parents consider that when they ship you off to like a rehab, that you're going to be around a bunch of people who've done worse offenses, and that you're going to befriend those people.
Right.
Like when I got out of the woods, I just had a business model. I was gonna connect with a guy that I was gonna buy pounds through, and I was like, okay, do I go direct to customer? Do I do distribution? All these plots and math that I was figuring out. But when I came back from Samoa, I was like, yeah, I'm just not gonna do that. I didn't really. I was kind of over that. I was there for 16 months. At one point, I thought I was leaving.
Almost a year and a half.
Yeah, at one point, I thought I was leaving. I was like making a plan. They have you like plan out your first 30 days back home. You don't know what the fuck you're gonna do, but you're supposed to plan it out hour by hour. And they're like, oh, all those places you said you want to hang out, that's where people sell drugs. I'm like, what do you want me to say I'm gonna do? Like, I'm gonna hang out. I'm gonna go to a bowling alley. I'm gonna go to a movie. I'm gonna go to a park and hang out maybe. Like, yeah. people sell drugs everywhere, like
even at the library.
yeah. So and then I was told that I was going to another place that was in Oregon. The irony of that was that part of the reasoning behind that I was communicated was that I was in such a fucking crazy place that I had to like get reintroduced back to like society, which kind of looks like I probably still need that again.
Yeah. You
But
dropped out of reintroduction class.
so but then Iron like, you fucking sent me there. I mean, it didn't change the fact that I was there, but like there's an educational consultant that in my view is a commissioned salesperson who had monetary benefit to encourage the continuation of this process. And I'm being a parent now. I look back at my parent, like people ask like, what is your relationship with your parents now? And it's fine. It's just as fine as it's going to be, and you do the things you do, and I'm sure I'm doing shit that my kids later are going to be like, what the fuck? That was crazy.
Yeah.
But they gave me good material, and I ended up meeting my wife shortly after the programs. And
because of the programs, really.
Yeah. And I think like cosmically, I think we still would have met, but
yeah, that's highly possible.
But
when you were bouncing around from Utah to Samoa to Oregon, were your parents in San Jose the whole time?
Yeah.
Are they still there now?
Yeah. No, they're in San Marcos now.
Okay.
They sold their house, gosh, I don't remember how many years ago now, 15 to 20 years, somewhere around there. And then moved there, moved to San Marcos, and I've been there a few times, but not a ton. But I don't really go back.
Is that in Southern California?
Yeah, it's basically San Diego.
Okay.
Right by San Diego.
Nice.
People always think people always think that I know other places in Idaho too. They'll like name little towns with like fucking hiking they've done. I'm like, I don't know what that is. It's probably like right by me, and I just don't care.
Yeah, I always tell people that Northern California and Southern California are pretty much two different states.
Yep, completely different.
Yeah, definitely. We don't get along with those people. No, I'm just kidding.
You got what's her name, Paula Maddox up there?
Oh yeah, super northern
yep.
California. How did you go from the rehab situation to wanting to do comedy?
It's funny because when I told my sister I was doing comedy, she was like confused. Then I talked to her more about it when I was trying to work a joke. She's like, you're not funny.
Oh my god, why do they always say that? My family like, why you're not funny? And I'm like,
she didn't even say it. It might have been those exact words, but that's basically what she was saying. I don't even fault her for it. It was just like, we didn't, because I was doing a joke, because the joke I do about kind of having not a lot of humor growing up.
Yeah.
I was the only
roast you had with brisket.
Yeah.
Brisket.
I think that's funny. Not everybody in an audience does. I need to when I work on that one. But yeah, so to work that one, I called my sister because I know I blocked stuff out from growing up a little bit. So I was like, what? Like my dad had bipolar and was undiagnosed until I left. Wasn't like a physically abusive household, but there was definitely a lot of chaos. And my sister went one way of like great grades, extracurricular stuff. I went the other way where I would get like praised if I was passing a class eventually. When I got to the point where I didn't care about school or whatever. So, but you're asking about the company. So when I asked her about that bit, because I'm like, is this accurate? She's like, yeah, you're right. There wasn't a whole lot of laughter going on. So my parents, they actually watched the first booked show I ever did, and that was on Zoom. That was with Flappers. And I taught. It was actually, I'd say it's brought us closer together. Did we just get an internet dip?
Yeah, that was weird. Did you see that?
Okay.
No, I don't know what happened.
It got a little choppy, and I could tell from your facial expression something wasn't connecting, not just with my words, but with something
blurry out of nowhere.
Really? Yeah. I didn't notice. Anyway.
You're good now, though.
Yeah, check your glasses, Sam.
Apparently. I gotta pay the internet bill too.
And the internet goes in and out. And with the kids at school.
Was that?
Oh, just with the kids home from school. I mean, the internet, a lot of people are using it right now. So
same. Yep. Same.
Yeah. I'll be like, once I was about to do a VR show, which is way harder than a Zoom show, got the headset on, I was about to go on, and then I realized the internet had just died. I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm yelling at my kids because they right at that moment they were downloading some big game. Like,
Yelling
pause
at the kids dressed like Judge Dredd.
right now. Yeah, right now. Pause that. Come back in. That's the kind of shit we dealt with during this time. But the Flappers Zoom, it was a book show, unpaid, showcase, like they were, but I was doing 5 minutes, and to me that was like a, on a club show thing, and that was a big deal to me at the time. It was my first time doing that, and I actually saw them watching their faces, and I do that set because like I didn't expect them to be there, and at the time my 5 minutes was talking about getting sent away.
Right. Yeah.
And then I even do a line.
Right, growing up in the household, no laughter and everything. Yep.
Yeah. So that part I didn't have yet. And that's really the only line I feel bad. Honestly, it's the only line I feel bad about, where I don't know if they're going to watch this, but that's the line. If I see them on a Zoom, I don't do. Cause like that's talk about, it's like me, like, I don't know. It's like talk about you sent me away and these things happened. But like saying that you didn't have jokes in your house, that's really hurtful.
Your dad's like, I told jokes.
I told jokes.
Yeah, I just don't remember. And it's funnier that if that's not the case, whether it's true or not, it's funnier if it's not. But the part where I talk about how my parents, I was really fortunate. My parents hired a really good Jewish lawyer to get me out of juvie, and like I'm watching their faces during this.
Oh my god.
Oh, I love your little impression of the Jewish lawyer too.
Oh yeah, we're just let my people go. I love that line. Not everybody does, but I like it because it's all the movies will let my people go and shit.
Yeah.
And then but then getting to see their faces, and then I was like, thanks mom and dad for that when I'd address them during the show. For getting the lawyer, and it's shit that we all dealt with, and so it's talking, and it's brought us closer. So like my sister and I have talked more about that period of time. There were some, it was interesting because I kind of forgot about this. There were some misconceptions she had about me when I got sent away, and her views and her thoughts, and some guilt feelings, and that not shouldn't, but like were things that we talked about, things that were like that hadn't been communicated before, and they're proud of me. It's a cool thing. I mean, this is a weird thing that we do, and it's not easy. And some people we just have that little thing that says this is what you have to do to fill that thing, and we do it. So it's been pretty neat, and they'll pop on the Zooms that I'm on. It gets kind of weird because as my sets, they're not really dirty, but that's not the case for everybody. So when you're watching your fucking parents' faces while someone's talking about anything, you're like, shit. Wow. I can just turn the screen off real quick.
Yeah. And same thing for me. Like when I would invite people to Zooms and stuff, they're like, oh, can I watch it with my kids? And I go, well, I'm not very dirty, but I can't control the content of other comics.
Yeah. You just shouldn't have. Yeah, it's an adult thing. I took my kids recently to see Chad Daniels, and they moved us to the back so we weren't in the front.
To throw them off.
Yeah. Even just that, just like people around, like it would have been weird, but it was funny because I was in the back and I got to, they got to watch one of my favorite comedians, and then he did like a, shake hands picture thing at the end. So, and the people that were featuring and hosting were friends that I've, worked with because, I'm a comic, here. And so it was pretty cool. So I got to tell them that was their first experience going to see comedy. And I've shown them clips. I've actually been working on material about telling my son about that bit. So the story of me telling him that I was doing it on stage, I've been doing it on stage for like 5 months before I told him about it. Like that's material in the talk and how we connected on that. So we got to have that moment. And then like afterwards I took him to IHOP, so I didn't do a set like on the Chad Daniels show, but like just talking comedy, and they watched, and they know, it's important to me, and they had a great time. Obviously at the show, and then afterwards took him to IHOP, and so we had like late night food and stuff. So they got to have a fun. They still haven't gone and see me do live comedy, and they will at some point. But I've shown them clips and stuff because usually it's not stuff that they don't need to see the weed stuff, but the other stuff,
eventually, when
they will at some point, and they know that about me. Like they know that part of my life, and they're getting close to that age that all that kind of stuff happened. But
wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
what
crazy.
a trip, dude.
It's weird.
I've said it before, but I know that you touched points on a lot of like the different events that happened in your life, but quite honestly, I feel like if you really like got into those events and picked and pulled really like meticulously, I would say you could have like a total fucking half hour to an hour just right there, just done. Done.
Thanks.
And
Yeah,
that's just your past.
honestly, that was my first time getting on stage. Was like, this is weird and interesting. Most people haven't experienced this. It's fucking bizarre, and I need to talk about this. So I did. That was my first set. I was fortunate. I was like at a good hot club at Helium Comedy Club in Portland. Amazing crowd. Most open mics, as you know, was just 10 comics at a bar talking to each other, trading off the microphone, basically. But
Yeah.
and I tell people that because I'm like, that's most of it. But this was like a club. People paid a few bucks to get in, and committed to a date night. Yeah. So I went up like it was the host. He's Shane Brennan, who recently this year won Portland's funniest person.
Oh, that's cool.
He was hosting. Adam Posse had just won that a few days before. I didn't really know what that meant. Like, I know what the competition was, but so Shane was hosting, and then another comic was up, and then it was me. So then I got to do my set and just enjoy watching everybody else. Wow. And then at the end, the host, so Adam, so I do mention getting sent away, but I don't say where, because it was one of those things where it's like, I feel like once you dip your toe in that, you got to address it. And if you don't have something funny to say about it, then why bring it up?
Yep.
And that's the hard part, is, about doing comedy. You're like, I want to talk about this thing, but I gotta find these things have to be present to make it worth, like the reward for finding the jokes is getting to talk about it.
Hell
is
yeah.
is the way I like to view it. And but I got off stage and I met Adam at the bar, and he's half Samoan, and he talks about that. And then I go, oh, dude, it's awesome. I love seeing you. Great job. And I said hi and introduced myself. Then I was like, I actually, that place I talked about, because he had watched my set and said some, nice things and gave some constructive feedback on it. And then he's like, which is awesome. I was super happy about that. And I showed him a tattoo I've got on my leg that I got when I came back from Samoa. That was based on some art that I got in Samoa. So I didn't like get the tattoo there, which some people did. But then I was like, oh, dude, check this out. I live in Samoa. That's really cool that you are Samoan. And he's like, I've never been there. You're more Samoan than me. And then we laughed and connected. And then he goes, hey, I'll see you guys later. Cause I was there with some customers that I met that day that I invited to an open mic the first time. And so for my day job, customers that I was working with. And then so Adam leaves and he's like, I'll see you guys later. I'm like, I'm never going to see him again. And that's fine. That was a nice way to part. But then he comes back. He's like, you guys want to go to another open mic? I'm like, ooh, what? That's a thing?
You can do that?
And at this point, I had some beverages.
Oh boy.
Oh.
But I had somebody who drove me, and like I was coherent. I was just like, I just definitely was not 100% sober, which I had been doing my first set. And then I went up at this, a normal open mic, like I just described. So it was like some of the best comedians we had just seen, some comics who hadn't been on the list, because the locals don't always get on, but traveling gets priority, and putting that out, I was the first time doing it. So then I went up and we were just hanging out and hanging out with Adam and other comics there. Shane was there, who had hosted, all these other people I got to meet. And then they put me up, at the end, asked me if I want to go up, and I did. And then after that, and it went as you'd expect. But eventually, like halfway through my set, I'm like, look, guys, I just decided to do this for the first time tonight. And then they were like cheering, like, yeah, Niko.
Wow.
So I got the love. And then afterwards, it was kind of a point of like, like, dude, you went up in the pit. Cause like, it's just a mic that was known to be really hard. It's no longer going. Rest in peace, Lamp in Portland.
Lamp.
Knows about it. A Lamp. Jake Silverman was hosting, and so then afterwards Adam was like, hey, do you want to go to this place called the Clinton House? We just hang out afterwards. So it was like the party house of all the comics, where after everything. So then I was like, sure. So we just like hung out and drank White Claws till like 3 a.m. and I'm like, I gotta go to my hotel. I have to work in the morning. I went to a hemp a farm tour. Like I was like, okay, working, whatever. Like it wasn't like I was up early, like doing hard shit, but I was like, I gotta go. But this was a amazing experience. I got to go in and we're like several comics rent that house, and it's just gone through different iterations of different comedians.
Wow,
So
that's
it
so
was
cool.
like it was a bunch of the comics from that night, as also like and like their girlfriends and boyfriends, and everybody's hanging out on the porch, just doing it, just having a ball. I'm like, this is amazing. I'm gonna do this until I can't anymore.
Yeah.
And we've gotten connected, and we've seen each other, you know, different times. I'll go to Portland. I was for a work thing in Bend, a different, you know, area in Oregon, and ended up meeting and hanging out with Adam and some other people. And now he's, you know, looking at some stuff coming to Boise, and we're gonna put some stuff together. It's funny because even now, like I like helping people just get connected, as you know, but like, because like if I know somebody that could help you do whatever, like we now, because of Zoom, we all could go to anywhere and say, I know somebody who can get me to somebody, even if that person's not a booker.
I mean, that goes all the way back to the Bill Burr thing, because you
Yeah.
weren't even trying to get on the show. You were trying to connect Bill Burr with your friend.
Yeah, I bet there was something back here that I wasn't thinking of. I was like, guess what, Niko? This could be a, but like I'm not front enough to be like conscious of it or really there. But yeah, it was like no one did this. Fuck yeah, I'm gonna tweet at Bill Burr. Who cares? What's gonna happen? And then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit. You know what? I'm gonna see if I can get in there too, and it worked.
I'm gonna see if he met me as well.
Yeah.
How far ahead of the pandemic did this take place? Going to Portland and getting in the trenches with these comics for the first time.
7 months.
Okay.
So I was still really new, and I think it was just the perfect timing of, I mean, it sounds shitty to say, but for what transpired to create the group we met in, the timing of my energy level of like, I had just gotten a taste enough of live comedy where I wasn't doing it all the time, where like a lot of comics, you know, who did it all the time hated Zoom because it's so different. You don't have the blah, blah, blah energy, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm not feeding off anything already. I mean, I know that I just didn't really understand it. But like I was at the right moment of honesty, I was naive enough, honestly. I think it was a benefit where I wasn't as jaded, you know, as fuck this. Because actually,
jaded, you've been like, nope, this is gonna be.
Because actually, what was going on is, was I was even before pandemic, I was like, all right, I want to do comedy when I travel. I don't want to do it at home yet. I just wasn't confident enough yet. I didn't know how Idaho's audience was, and being home, I want to be with my family. Yeah. So when I traveled, it was for work. They paid me to travel.
You're already away from your family at that point.
Yeah. So it's like I was either like hanging out watching Netflix, or I could go out, and because I'm very extroverted, where I know a lot of comics, you know, only feel that way on stage, but I always do. So like I just want to get out and be out there. And this is a way to do that. Like what more way to just suck all that energy out of you and getting to feed off it and do things than do comedy. So I had just started doing it. And then I was like, damn, I want my friends in other areas, I want to do comedy that they could see and maybe have them do comedy. And I looked into Twitch a little bit. I'm like, how can I work it like there's an audience where there is a live response? And while all these things are happening, then that bat closed down, all that kind of shit happened, and then like, oh, this is how we do it now.
Yeah,
we got to figure this out.
It's crazy for us because you said you were 7 months in. We had taken about 3.5 to 4 years off, and we were about 8 months in when the pandemic hit. And I honestly feel like if I wasn't doing it in person pre-pandemic, like again, I wouldn't have done it at all during the pandemic.
Oh, so you had taken a break, started doing it again.
Yeah.
And then you were getting the fire back up. Your fire's getting stoked.
Yeah. We started getting momentum. We started getting on shows, and then everything.
Then you're like, you took this away from me? What the fuck?
Yeah. And so if we weren't doing that, if we weren't having that momentum, I probably would not have even trenched into comedy on Zoom.
That's a good point. Yeah. It was the timing aligned for a lot of stuff. And I had just seen, so Rachel Rothenberg, when she was out of Salt Lake, she was doing her Zoom mic, and I had seen a comic that I had met in Tacoma traveling for work, Carol Freeman. She was doing that Zoom, so I was like, I'm gonna watch it because I want to see how this works.
Yeah.
And then I watched them. Yeah, you're right. And it was before she called it that. I forget.
Oh, it was before it was named that?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know about that yet.
Yeah, that was shit. What was the name of it? I don't even. I think it was called something else. I don't remember what it's called,
I don't
but it
know.
was
That's
I
crazy.
think it was before it's called
Before
that.
she branded it.
I think it was. And then she, you know, I was like, I got to figure out how to do this. And like, I got to figure out an angle in my garage. I didn't understand virtual backgrounds yet. And I just had my laptop. Like now I have like a good webcam and you know, just see if I got like mic set up.
Oh, that's dope.
And
that was a nice little cover up right there.
The mic is behind his beard. If anybody wants.
So that's oh yeah, we're not so
your beard's like a pop filter.
It is. That's awesome. I thought when I trim it, sometimes the sound is different. I don't know.
Just don't shake your head back and forth. No jokes for you saying no because you'll rub the mic.
Yeah. So then that sends it to this little box here. It's plugged into my laptop. And actually what I do now is I have that plugged into my phone. I'll record sets at open mics. And I'm always thinking of stuff that so what I've been doing is, and I got permission from the person running it. I want to post about this in Displaced, but you know, sometimes you've been there. So it's when you go to like suggest something, you don't know if something you really want to suggest, or you know, you're going to get all kinds of different responses. But basically, not basically, but I've been recording the open mics that I've been at, and then and this is with the okay of the venue, as for $5, I'll send a tape to the comic on a Google Drive. I'll upload it and I'll just cut out their thing and and it's a way to, you know, get paid for going to open mic. It is work, you know, it's hours of doing that stuff, and the equipment was a few $100, but the quality is really good on the audio. And I was sick of like trying to take whenever I take good video, that's usually a shitty audio spot. Yeah. And it's like, if I could have one. So what I started doing was I would just record my set in my pocket on my phone, audio on that, and that's all I needed. But now I do the video and connect that. So the mics I actually place in the audience. I'll get permission. I'm like, hey, is it cool if I record the show from here or whatever? And if I could tell if it's like awkward, like, you know, I'm good. You know, actually I got it over here. I don't want to make people feel weird or whatever, but I place it out there. So it picks up good sound. And now we in the scene get to have good clips because that's,
you have several mics that are connected to it.
Yeah. So it has this one and there's another one. So there's 2 mics.
Oh, wow.
So I'll place them at different tables and I'll flip them over. So like you can't see the blue light. So it's just, I put them on stage before and I try to put them in a place where it's going to pick up good audio. When I'm doing like a book show, a lot of times I'll clip this onto my shirt and have one in the audience. So at least you got my audio really strong. Because we're doing a mic, it's moving too fast to unclip this and move this over here. But I'll still, when I'm on a book show, I'll usually cut the clips and give them to people because usually that's just a couple of sets. It's not like 25 comics. And then people, I'll just message everybody after the show. A couple of days later, hey, $5 again if you want to vet. And then there's some of the people that'll just Venmo me right away because they just know, or hand me cash at the thing because they see me recording and just know like they want to get a copy of their thing. And it offsets some cost and it's fun and most importantly it helps. And then I always end up getting tape for myself because I know that I'm kind of committed to doing that, where I just kind of make things into jobs, but it's a fun one. And it pays enough to cover some Ubers when I go out of town or buy drinks or whatever.
It's better than selling weed.
Yeah. Especially since the government took that business model away or at least made a dent.
Well, I don't want to keep you here all day, but I do want to touch on Displaced Comedians. So let's talk about the Facebook group Displaced Comedians.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
Have you heard of it?
It's funny. We talked for 90 minutes and I'm like, oh, yeah. And I'll talk forever. So what do you want to know about that group, Sam?
Just like how it came about, like how you got the idea to make. It's funny because every little comedy scene, right? Like Indianapolis, right? Boise, Sacramento, New York, all these different comedy scenes and these physical places. But Displaced Comedians was this new thing where it was its own comedy scene and it was not in a location, it was on the internet. And that's, I'm glad you mentioned that because I don't know if people listening to this might, like, especially if they're not a comic, might not be aware that that's how you find out about what's going on in the scene. Is every scene has, at least to my knowledge, every scene that I visited has a group. And I hate it when people go, hey, what mics for San Diego? It's like, hey, just go join San Diego.
Go to this group.
Don't ask.
Exactly.
Go join a group.
So if you're in Displaced and you ask, we'll say, here's the group to go to, but I'll sometimes mention some stuff. So I was in these different comedy groups because I would travel for my day job. Usually it's in the Northwest, but I had some stuff in California. So I would and I was noticing people were posting, hey, I'm doing a Zoom. So I would join those groups. So I used to use Bad Slava. Have you guys ever used that?
No.
That's a resource that I don't know when last time it was updated. I'm not, I just literally don't know. But it was a website you can go to see what mics to go to, like what's in what town. Here's some feedback, and I think it was LJ Ross is his name he goes by on there. He would put like if he had actually done the mic, very descriptive. Hey, I went there, got here at this time. This is what happened. I ate this food that was good. This wasn't as good. I talked to that, like very helpful, specific, actionable intel. So when I'd go to an area, that's a good place to start. Be like, oh, that's where I'm thinking I'm going to go. But but it always says call before you haul. Like, don't count and this was a fear I had with displaced comedians. Don't count this as the end all be all. Confirm shit before you make plans.
Yeah.
Duh. Right. And I
yeah.
get it if somebody doesn't sometimes, but like, because if you think it's the thing, but it's like, but I don't want to be one of the things, I didn't want to give bad information. I was scared of that. So I don't want to, waste people's time. So I'm seeing all these different mics happening. People are like, oh, we're doing this Zoom out of Portland, the Zoom out of whatever. And I'm like, well, how do we know which, like, we gotta be connected. We gotta get together. We gotta have one place people go. And I actually was messaging with Rachel and I was like, dang, someone's got to keep track of this. Cause at the time there's like 4 or 5 a week that I knew of. Turns out to be hundreds later. But I was like, well, how do we keep track of this to just know what to do? And I was like, I'm thinking of making this group. She mentioned like maybe thinking of doing that herself too at some point. Cause she'd been doing it for, a little longer than I had. And I was like, well, if you don't, I'm going to do it, or something. And then she didn't do it. And I later talked to her about it. She's like, I'm glad that wasn't she's glad she didn't. I didn't want to feel like I took something away. She's like, no, don't worry about it. You're good.
Yeah, like that's your headache, Niko.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it did become that in ways. So I was like, all right, we got to start a group. And then a couple, invited every person that asked to be in, because I figured if you saw the group, you were a comedian, you wanted to be in the thing. And then, we had several hundred people. And like in a week or so, I'm like, wow, this is insane. Now we're like 10,000. We've tapered off a little, but we still get a lot of people joining, but about 10,100, 10,200.
Yeah, it was about 10K last time I saw.
Yeah, and it just grew and grew, and that, so it was on, I think it was on, I post about it every once in a while, it's on my personal page. I think it was like April 2020, where I posted, hey, I'm thinking of starting this group to help centralize all this stuff. And then like a week later, hey, I started this group. This is the group. And then we would just hang out and talk. And then I had one main post of all the mics, because I wanted you to need to be in the group to see the information. I wasn't trying to like gatekeep stuff, but I wanted it to be like, you need to be, it wasn't just going to be a website. Like, you got to be, we're a community. You got to be in that community.
Part of the community. Yep.
Yeah. To have this. And then I was like, this is just too much of a pain to update this really long post. It was so slow, like the connection, and just how long, like, it was not, Facebook wasn't designed to make that one post be the end all be all. So I made a file on Google Sheets and tried to tell people where the fuck it was. And then I ended up buying the domain just to point to it, just because it was easier than, resharing this link. Like, just go to displacedcomedians.com. Just fucking look at it. I don't care if you're in the group or not, whatever. Then I would interrogate people like you guys, like, hey, what's the set? Like, stuff that I thought was important. How long is a set? Is it being streamed? Where's it based out of? And people be like, oh, it doesn't matter where it's based off. It's the internet. I'm like, well, that's a funny, cute thing to say. And it's true to an extent. But, as like a lot of these were based off of other mics. So as long as, there was something in that scene, like a lot of that's where that scene was. So if one popped up out of New York, you're going to have a lot of people in New York there that weren't, that's new audience for you, even though they're all comics most of the time. And I just interrogated people and got the information, and then shared it, and tried to make an environment of people that are not horrible to each other, and keep it kind of about comedy. Like, those are kind of my main things. If you're not being even if you're posting something that's kind of personal, that's outside of it a little bit, I don't mind a lot, as long as it's not hurting people. Like, that's my main thing. Is people being mean. Which I was like, his dad, like, don't be mean. But like, that's my main thing that I try to do, which I know isn't always successful. And we've gone through people getting harassed. We gotten through people
Oh,
demanding
yeah.
me
And
to do
people in
things that they
crisis, like,
we have people in
act
crime.
differently. So
Yeah, it's just a
Yeah.
bizarre thing to try to do, but now it's more live stuff, as you've seen, because people are doing live stuff.
It
So
was definitely
Yeah.
the best of the best and the worst of the worst over the years.
yeah, yeah, that's a
such
good
a
way
perfect
to.
name
Yeah.
too.
It is a perfect
Yeah.
name because we were all displaced at the time.
Yeah.
I had such a fun time. I'm like, what do I call this? And then the picture I've never changed is just, I don't
Yeah.
know how to make art. It was just the picture of Jack Nicholson in The Shining. He's sitting at that bar looking like a lunatic because he is, and it's just me just drawing with my finger on the
Yeah.
mouse pad, displaced comedians. It's like not professional. It's not. I'm like,
It's
I don't want it to
perfect,
be
though.
professional.
It's so perfect though.
It
It's
is
just
so
got to be
perfect.
this silly, goofy, stupid thing, and then now I know so many awesome people and met, and I know a lot of people have got
Yeah.
cool opportunities, and they tell me about that. It just warms my heart. It's just makes me happy because I also there's things that I also don't know about, because there are people definitely done a lot more Zooms than I have because I've kind of, I don't do them very often because
Yeah.
I'm doing live stuff, and honestly, I didn't have a good family and Zoom balance.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
hopped in my garage and did Zoom times that I probably should have just been inside with the people who I care for the most. And so balancing that out better with, because when I was traveling for work, I was traveling for comedy. I was traveling for work. My boss sees this. I was already gone anyway, like I said, so it wasn't like taken away from anything.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But when I'm
Family
at
time wasn't an
home,
option.
now I'm a lot more picky, about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no,
But
that
I
makes
feel like
sense.
it's really important to reflect that once you saw there was an issue with something, you really worked hard and put a lot of effort into resolving it. And I
Appreciate
think
that.
that's really
Yeah.
it's fucking admirable.
And it was I really appreciate that, Dana, because there were obviously moments, as you probably know, that like people were like pitchforks and shit, like fuck
Oh
this
yeah.
Yeah.
person, ruin this.
Yeah.
And some people might say, oh, it's just a Facebook group, but it's a big deal to remove somebody from a community. If they
Yeah.
Yeah, it
feel
is.
it doesn't matter, we just happen to be doing comedy, which is brings
Mhm.
all these weirdos together. But like it could have been anything. It could be crocheting or whatever the fuck it is. Everyone's got some thing in
Yep.
community, and if someone's being a piece of shit, or someone else is saying, hey, fuck that person, kick him out, I'm like, whoa,
Right.
you got
Let's
to convince me that pretty
Yeah,
hard.
let's look at the facts.
That's like execution. Like you don't just do that. And then people giving me shit like, just trust whoever. I'm like, turns out 7 of the people that told me about XYZ weren't even present for whatever they're saying happened, so they didn't even know
Yeah.
what happened. So I'm like, fuck you, in the face of people that are like mad at me. I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna deal with that. And I know I made some calls that, going back on it, like, I wish I had done differently. Shit's gonna happen.
Mhm.
I put some
Yeah.
people in place to be help with it, and no fault to them. It's just it's just got to be whatever I view as the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And I've started and ruined friendships because of that, and I'm sad for that. But try to learn from it, and try to make it a positive place that people can find useful. And I
Yeah.
find it useful myself.
Oh man, this story is sadder than the rehab story.
Oh my goodness. Stop
I'm
it.
just kidding. Hey, but who cares, Niko? You're friends with Bill Burr now.
Yeah,
That's all
fuck
that
Bill
Yeah,
Burr.
matters.
we
No,
went
dude.
biopic style on this one. We showed like the big one at the and then
The big
tell us
reveal.
about your beginning.
The big reveal in the
Yeah,
begining. Yeah, hell yeah.
That was
yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Do you have any projects or anything you're working on that are coming up that you're excited about?
Ooh. So tonight I'm gonna be on. I just found out Judah's not gonna be on. He usually is. Judah Friedland's usually on this one Zoom that Pratik and
yeah,
puts
tripping
Oh
bird.
yeah,
on with
Tripping
Mark
Bird. That's a
Anthony.
super fun one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm gonna be on
Yeah.
that tonight. Judah's
Oh,
fortunately
okay.
not gonna be there, but
Aren't you
I
on that
figured
sometime?
with the holiday. But that's pretty fun. Been on that a couple of times. I'm gonna be in a competition show in Boise, Comic of the Year, which I'm really stoked
Oh
about. I
wow.
I always get mad about competitions, and then I get asked to do one, and then I get excited like the other ones. My anger of the other ones didn't happen, and it's not logical stuff, obviously, but I'm really
It's just
excited
stage
because
time.
Yeah.
it's
Like
it's
even if you
good
don't
audience.
advance, like you still get a set in.
And they're formatting this in a really awesome way. Like, shout out to Haley Linhart Weiss and Blue City Comedy. Just amazing. They're doing it to where like the audience vote matters to an extent, but it's not like you can just get all your friends to
Bring a
go.
bunch of people and win.
Yeah.
and win. And I'm not saying that people have done that. That's why they won. I'm just saying like it's not as big of a factor, and no repeating materials. What I love about this, they're trying to build feature sets. So 5 minutes, 2 nights to split it up, 15 comics each night, 7 advance, and get paid $50, which is for a competition. The ones who advance get paid $50. Next week, then it's the 14 that advanced, 5 different 5 minutes. So you get knocked for doing the same material, and then you get another $50 who advances from that. And then you got 7. Then they do 10-minute sets. Oh, no repeat material. Those who pass that get $100, and then in the finals, if I'm doing my math right, basically it comes down to 4 people that'll do 20 minutes. You can repeat your stuff. The point is to make the best 20-minute solid. Yes, some feature sets at 30 minutes, but still, if you got a strong 20, that's a big fucking deal. And then I think everybody on that gets 100 or something, and the winner gets $1,000 and be comic of the year. So throughout the year, they've had a comic of the month competition, and the first place and runner up are getting into this. And then they picked some people who didn't make that. And I'm one of those people to get to be on it. So I'm excited to see a great show, because everyone's going to be bringing their best stuff. And it's the majority of the comics in our scene, not everybody, but like a lot of people that are hardworking doing this at the best spot for comedy location. So it's gonna be a great audience, great time, a good tape. They're gonna the first set's professionally recorded, and then they did like one night last week before our Thursday night open mic, which is really great. Like they did professional headshots. They had somebody come in and do some nice shots and stuff. So even if you don't win, we didn't pay to get in, and you get good tape and headshots. So that's
also networking.
Fucking I
feel like that's the big takeaway that a lot of people don't consider when they're going into competitions or going to comedy festivals and stuff. It's like you get to network with a bunch of people that you don't necessarily network with, or a bunch of audience people that haven't seen you.
That's going to be the main part, because all the comics on there, we know each other. I mean, there's maybe 1 or 2 that aren't out there all the time, but we see each other, multiple times a week usually. But again, get an audience and all their friends to come to shows, because like, as you know, once you've been doing comedy for a little bit, you burn through your friends. They've seen your shit. They're going to go to some shows, but I don't fault them or expect them to go to any show. But when they do, and some went to the Burr show, and that was really fun. That was their first time seeing me do a set. Is they went because of that, and that was really fun. But yeah, it should be a good time, and I'm always thinking of doing something. I know the Flappers thing is they're gonna release their thing at some point. They made the Unflappables, they're like documentary comedy specialty thing over a year ago, where they recorded Zoom shows, and they encouraged us on the Zoom show to talk about flappers and stuff. And I did, because I had some fun stories, because I did so much on flappers.
Oh, nice.
So I think I'm gonna, some of the stuff might be on that, which
that's incredible. I didn't even know about that. That's awesome.
If it's on there, that'll be cool. And if it's not, that's fine. I'm excited just for it to have happened, and for them to talk about it. Because they're talking about this fucking Zoom thing. So there's probably stuff I'm not even thinking about, but yeah, just trying to get real funny and do comedy. I'm excited. At some point, I'm gonna be like good enough to get these opportunities, and that's gonna be dope. Like, I'm excited to like be like, oh, he could actually do a headline length set, or actually like a strong feature set. And I think I'm close on the feature. I'm saying that in a year. I'll be like, what the fuck? No,
you've been doing comedy for very long, but you really got good during the pandemic,
because you didn't sit on it,
with the mannerisms and like take a drink of water here, just the different things that you put together and you've done. And I really appreciate your growth.
Yeah,
it's funny. I've had to unwind some Zoom stuff because like the timing is different. So like people were when I started, they were like, you seem kind of, I wouldn't say this, I was super fine, like seemed like polished, like you knew what you were doing, but it was just a weird. Yeah. I'm like, because I've lived on here for a million years, and my timing's different. So I've had to like unwind some of that.
Yeah.
But most of the material still works. I've just obviously built new material and like worked out those sets in different ways. Some stuff, some reason hits live better than Zoom or whatever the fuck. It's just a weird thing. But yeah, I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Hell yeah. We appreciate you, man. Thanks for building a community. Our group was definitely inspired by your group, Mm-hmm. And we needed a place kind of, because I was using a Facebook like page for our stuff, and it just got really hard to corral people, and people to comment, interact with people and things like that. And so I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna start what like Displaced Comedians is. And so we have our group going too, and that's inspired off of you as well.
Awesome. I appreciate that. I'm glad I've seen you guys running that. I'm glad you guys are doing it and that people are still doing some of this stuff and you're doing it as relevant as it is. So are you guys doing your weekly mic still?
We just stopped doing it a couple of weeks ago. You know, we had to cancel 2 or 3 weeks in a row because, you know, only 2 or 3 people were showing up. So it's not like
it's gonna be.
Yeah. And so I figure maybe special occasions, right? So we'll probably do one, you know, the new year and then maybe, you know, whatever else.
I mean, the idea behind the whole thing was we wanted to provide a platform for people to be able to do it. So if they're not showing up, that means that they've got it in person now.
Yeah,
and they're taken care of, and people are okay.
And that's what I love the way you look at it. Is like you did it to serve a purpose, not to like take over the world. You know, similar to Zoom is just like I did it because I know that there will be supply will meet demand. We know how to do this now. However, it's 2 people, and if it ever 2 times a week, we know what to do. Yeah.
Exactly. Awesome. Cool. Hey, well, you want to plug your social media before you get out of here?
Thanks. So I'm in all the places at Laugh Your Lukoff, Lukoff, and Twitter. So I'm going to be more active on now that I already did the show. So even if Bill Burr sees my stuff and is like, he's an idiot, then he can. Then I'm not fucking that opportunity.
It won't really affect you too much. Yeah.
Fuck it. And I actually got sort of word when Musk started going nuts. I'm like, oh shit, I hope he doesn't blow this thing up before this show.
Yeah, right.
I hope Twitter still keeps going. But yeah, so I Laugh Your Lukoff, Facebook, all stuff. If you're a comedian or someone who's considered doing comedy or just a huge comedy fan, I don't mind people like that joining the group too. Displaced Comedian on Facebook. There are worse places to be a member of. And it's interesting and you want to connect with people. It's a good place to connect with other people who like telling jokes.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. There are worse places you can be in. We won't mention those places today. You can find me across the board. I am at Funky Sam Medina.
And I'm at She Shines For You, all spelled out.
And everything else we do is at Hypothetical Comedy. Awesome, Niko. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks, guys. Great to see you.